evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tavern.
What's going on?
How you doing, Andy Reid?
Yeah. You do look more like Andy Reid.
I do. But I have a friendship bracelet on. It says golf on it.
Okay, that begs the
All
question.
you need is like a double cheeseburger, and you'll probably be pretty good.
Who'd you get a friendship bracelet from?
My wife.
I was going to go
your
with Steve
friend. Who are you
Cox.
kidding? That's what I was going to.
I was going to say Steve Cox. So, welcome back to Monday night, boys.
Yeah,
Come back.
Yeah,
we're going to compete a little bit with Monday Night Football
and Game 3,
and some other baseball game going on.
Hey, Dave, join us in our teams that don't have to stress about the World Series.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can we talk fantasy football?
And how my team is horrible.
Yeah, how my team is doing well right now against someone else's team.
Yep, you are.
No,
it's all right.
No,
it's all right.
How's that McCaffrey trade paying out for you there, Greg?
The same way that who'd you get? The Chargers quarterback is holding out
Herbert.
for you. Yeah.
Herbert.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Justin Herbert.
They finally looked like a competent team last night.
Oh, I lost my mustache. Okay, cool.
I mean, they played the Bears last night, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well.
And their quarterback, who
Denver,
wants to be CrossFit. Yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City getting beat by Denver was very, very interesting.
Yeah, that I had Mahomes in one of my money leagues, and that did not help.
Hey, can we talk about your last name getting botched in the by the PA announcer in Indy this weekend, Greg?
My son's running with the Colts. My last name
running with the Colts. Yes.
Let's be honest. It's not as bad as Penn State at my graduation botched my last name. So where I became French for an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Delaware was how it was pronounced at
yes
my university's graduation. That was a fun one. But no one pronounces it correct. And we're not ones to get offended by that because it's a tough one to pronounce. So it's also a way you weed people out to know if they know me or not. So let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for first round.
Yes, it is. So
where's our intro?
Sorry, when you set this up, all of the videos got lost.
Oh, whoops.
I'm loading them back in.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there, but we got it. So let's go with first round.
Yeah. So welcome back to Monday nights. We're a little off our game.
Yeah, we're tonight. We're off.
Yeah, we are.
A little off
our game.
So first round, there wasn't a golf tournament this past weekend. We do have. Did we ever get odds for this week in Mexico? No.
I'll double check, but I still haven't seen them.
Dave's not allowed in Mexico.
No. Let's go over that first
next year.
For a first round. The idea of the new. So LIV took Mayakoba, where they played the Mexico tournament, Worldwide Technologies Championship. LIV took the Mayakoba spot. So the PGA Tour decided to move to Cabo, and they're playing at Tiger's Course this week in Cabo for the PGA Tour event. Interesting fields. Our man Lucas Glover is in the field. Glover is in the field this week. I've got a picture. He's probably the favorite in the field this week, Dave. Yep.
He is not.
Oh.
He's not even top 3.
I mean, if we're going odds with Dave, I had to get the intro in there.
Yeah. Let me guess. Ludwig Aberg is the favorite.
9-1.
Okay.
Who's number 2?
I looked at the field. I had to think Lucas was 1 or 2, but I'm surprised he's not in the top 3. Let me pull the field up here.
One of our other favorites from the next documentary is in the top 3.
Xander playing this week?
He is not.
Oh, is it Joel Damon?
It is not Joel.
I was about to say Joel Damon. I was going to say
Tony. He's not in the field this week.
Your number 2. Your number 2 is Cam Young. And Thagala is number 3 at 16-1. Lucas Glover's coming in at 25-1 right now. Bo Hosler 28-1. I'm going Bo this week. I think he's 28-1. He's 6-1 for a top 5.
I mean, he had a top. He T2 last week or 2 weeks ago.
So let's just ask this question. Isn't this the event that Matt Kuchar didn't tip very well at?
That was at Mayakoba.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it is that event. I was just going there actually. Hold on.
What I would say is, if you're him, bring that.
He is in the field. He is in the field this week.
He is. No, I'm looking at it. That's what I said.
Yeah, but they went from Mayakoba. Like that caddy was a caddy at Mayakoba, not at El Cardinal at Diamante.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but you could bring that caddy in.
Yeah. Kuchar's going off at 50-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw the replacement event for that.
Yeah.
So, interesting week news-wise in golf. The R&A and the Masters decided to respond to Bryson in regards to are they letting LIV players in or are they not?
Did they respond?
They did. I mean, the Masters response was
full-on response,
literally what was
more of it is a comment.
The Masters response was as expected. We do what we want.
Well, the R&A's response was basically a generic, this is our stance. Can you elaborate? This is our stance. This is an open tournament. You have to qualify for it.
Yeah.
There is no exemptions.
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, you're not saying yes or no of what you're doing with LIV players.
Right, but they're also not saying that a certain number of LIV players will be in the field, which is interesting.
I think what they're actually saying is they're not going to be exempt to get in. What I think they're leaning towards is that if you win certain events on LIV, that might qualify you for it. And I think that's what they're not saying yet, because I think they're trying to work that out.
I'm intrigued also because there's a lot going on. There was actually a lot of business news of this week in golf, because you had the fact that the company that bought into WWE was denied by the PGA Tour as far as an investment platform. So
not bought in, bought.
Right. Yeah, they bought WWE. They were trying to buy in and become a sponsor.
Yeah.
And the tour turned them down. And then you had an interesting one as we talk about LIV. You know, there's been a lot of talk of Golf Saudi in the PIF, and this past weekend's LPGA tournament was actually sponsored by Golf Saudi. So a lot of questions of, you know, the talking heads and the Brandel Chamblees of the world that that are so anti-Golf Saudi. Where was that tournament? Where was that LPGA tournament aired this week? Anybody know? Anybody catch that?
I believe it was the Golf Channel, Steve.
It was on the Golf Channel. Yes, it was. So
yes,
you've got a An interesting dynamic that's gone on here in the business world of golf this week that a lot of people are scratching their heads and raising some eyebrows to. I will say that the LPGA Tour,
Steve, business. It is a business. That's what this is.
Yep. At the end of the day, it literally is a business, and everybody's trying to make money. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that the PGA Tour, I still question, are they negotiating in good faith? I don't know that they are. I think they really need to take a long, hard look at these negotiations that they're doing, because I don't agree. I think that this thing with the PIF is going to fall flat on its face.
I don't think it's because they're negotiating in bad faith. I think it's going to fall flat on its face because the government's now distracted by other things right now, so they're not worried about it. So it's not getting that national attention that it was. So they could get a deal done because of that, but also it could just be like, hey, you want too much on this side, we want too much on this side, and this is their way of kind of saying, we're going to do what we should have done originally and be two separate entities. We're not going to fight with each other. We are competing with each other, but we're not going to flat out attack each other anymore. And that's where this could most likely go.
Yeah, and I think it's why the PIF has not moved on from Norman, and he's taken a very quiet leadership role and not been in the forefront, because I do think that that's what's going to end up happening. Although I don't know that he can keep his mouth shut long enough to make that happen.
Well, I think that's going to be the big thing, is that if they keep him on, I think that's their contract now, is that you need to just run this league and not try to bully another league. Run this league, make it successful, instead of trying to be a bully to another league. And really, you're not running the league. You're just trying to bully them by crazy ideas. And if he can't do that, I think he will be out. I think they're finally seeing that this needs to be a business and not an attack.
Right.
A personal vendetta.
Right.
Which is what it was. It's all it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you get, as you look at it, maybe, as it goes forward, if it doesn't merge and it's two separate things and you have this, it might make an easier route for people like, Koepka and DJ to play Memorial or Colonial or Bay Hill.
I think the only way that
play some of these other tournaments that aren't just.
Yeah. I think the only way that happens is if they do merge, because I think if it stays two separate entities, the tour is going to fall back on what the tour rules were. If you left, what the rules were in the contracts you signed as an independent contractor, and we're going to uphold you to those independent contractors. I really do. Like, I think it's going to make it harder for those guys to come back. They left and took the money. I do think the rich are going to get richer on the PGA Tour. I do think that you're going to see a lot more money infused. I think the TGL is going to make a ton of money. They've got a TV deal. You've got people buying in already and buying into franchises. The Boston group announced today that they have a logo for the Boston Common team, or whatever they're calling it, for
Boston
TGL.
Frogs.
No,
can you explain why it's a frog?
I can't. As someone from Massachusetts, I don't understand. Like, here's the thing:
I like the logo.
The logo was cool.
I think it's clever with like the frog's jowl as a golf ball. Like, I think that's a clever logo.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
yeah. Did you just throw a bunch of animals in a hat and that's what you pulled out?
Oh.
Well, let's be honest. How many bears are there in Boston? I'm going with the Bruins.
I knew where you're going.
So, like,
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
I don't get frogs. Why? I mean, that's not that intimidating.
Neither are ducks, though, really.
Ducks flock together.
No, Gordon Bombay.
Have you? Wait, hold on. You've been to Disney. You've been to the Yacht and Beach Club or anywhere over there. Ducks are aggressive.
Ducks are aggressive. I worked on Main Street. On Main Street. Ducks are aggressive. You can see that in the park.
Those Casey's Corner ducks that you don't give them a French fry and they're all over you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You will. You could lose a finger if you don't give them a French fry.
Exactly. So don't say ducks aren't aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Let's see, where are we at here? Our interview is downloading. We're about a quarter of the way downloaded now. So,
but going back to the PIF and all of this with everything that's going on, like we said, this is a business. This is where they're going with everything.
Yep.
It's a reaction. The PGA is reacting to what the players wanted from the beginning, which was more involvement in things, and it's growing into that. Monahan was doing something kind of to make a deal. I think he was trying to squash LIV is what he was trying to do. And if this deal doesn't go through, he's not going to successfully do that. LIV, on the other hand, I think sees that, hey, we're not being successful in the way that we thought we would because we didn't focus on that. We just focused on trying to
and they thought they would have they also thought they would have a very lucrative TV deal, and that has failed miserably on their end. So
I think it's because they were trying to bully.
TV option.
If their target was teenage girls, it would have been.
I just changed my cable subscription. We went to streaming service that they give you your local channels, and then you get to pick 15 channels out of a list of 80. And you know what channel wasn't on that list of 80? The CW. It wasn't on it. Sorry. Not that I would have gotten it if it was, but it wasn't on the list. It didn't make the cut to 80 channels that a major cable network or major cable subscriber didn't put it in their streaming package. That's how.
But even not having a major cable package, their video, their graphics, everything looked spliced together, last minute made, like they weren't prepared for this. Like it looked worse than the original XFL. Let's be honest.
I'm just going to put it out there. I could have gotten TV Land and not gotten the CW.
You know what's sad? You know, you watch when we were kids on TV Land, you watched I Love Lucy, Happy Days, MASH. Yes. You know what's on there now? Family Matters. All the TGIF shows, Friends.
Yes.
R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
Yes.
Yes.
But the business side of golf, I think a lot of people don't see the business side of golf. They don't look at the business side of golf. They don't understand the business side of golf. And they don't get, they think that just these tournaments go off. They see them on TV. They see their favorite players on TV. And that's all it is. And these guys make a lot of money. They don't understand the business side of what happens. And they think, well, these tournaments generate a lot of revenue. And so in the tournaments generating a lot of revenue, that's where this money is coming from to pay the players. That's not the case. A lot of that money that is generated goes to the charity. The tour has been footing the bill a lot of that through sponsorship payments. They have been footing the bill for the purses, especially the elevated events.
That's what people don't understand. It's a nonprofit, and the way a nonprofit works is that you get sponsorship, you get money in from people who want to put money into it. So whether that comes from advertising, whether that comes from sponsorship, all of this stuff is what brings this money in. So they do a good job of bringing this money in because they have a brand and a product that people want to invest in. And it's not an investment where you get a return on investment. It's where you're going to do sponsorship. You're going to do all of this. This goes to pay the players to put on the show so that you basically get advertising. You're basically paying for advertisement is what you're paying for in this sponsorship.
Yep.
It's really what any sponsorship is. That goes into playing all the players. So you get your purse from that. But then everything that's left over from that goes to paying the PGA. So they have an operating expenses that goes into their operating expenses. At the end of the year, they have to have a bottom line of zero. They can't make a profit. So everything that's on top of that is what they do in these charitable organizations. In every city they go to, they're donating that money back to the city, back to the first tee, back to all of this stuff to help.
And it's why they have the PGA Tour Entertainment Division, the TV division of the PGA Tour, that is their for-profit entity that they already have. That's where the advertiser dollars go and things like that, where they make money, and the tour makes money that they can put in reserves and things like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't go into the events and the tournaments and things like that. That goes into just being able to broadcast and do what LIV doesn't do, and they have money to do that. Yeah. Like, so it's not just this. Golf is $1 billion industry, but this money has to go back certain ways. It doesn't just go back to everybody. That's why the players, like, you're playing on this tour and you make the money off of your wins, and it's not like the LIV did with a contract and you get a certain amount of money on top of that.
Up front,
right? Yeah, and it's an interesting endeavor to throw as we're looking at the dynamic of this sport. Where is it going? What's it doing? And you can sit there and talk about, okay, is it a great idea to have all this money in these elevated events? Is it a great idea to just pay the players up front? There's a lot of people out there that don't think that the TGL is going to work, and they don't like the idea of the TGL of guys hitting balls into screens. I personally think, as a parent of children who like to play video games, I think the TGL is going to draw kids in because it's going to look like a video game to them, and they're going to see this video game aspect of golf, and they're going to say, "I want to do that."
It's an esports game.
Right, it's esports,
and that's a big thing now.
It's in a fall under an esports brand. Yeah,
and there's a lot of money in esports. Let's call it what it is. Like, there's a lot of money. I mean, in Vegas they built an esports arena. In Vegas, if there wasn't a lot of money in it, Vegas wouldn't have it. Let's just be real about how Vegas operates.
You can get college scholarships for esports now.
Yeah,
correct.
Like, there are college scholarships for esports.
Yeah.
Esports is a big part of it. The MLS has an esports division. The NBA has an esports division. I'm surprised the NFL, with how successful Madden is, does not have an esports division. Right. That's the surprising one. I get the NBA that's very popular. And it's really cool how they actually do it. Like, you have your own player. Like, you are the player. It's not like you're playing as NBA players. You create a player, and that's your player.
Yep.
And it's become this huge. I used to say when I was a kid, I go, "Oh, that'd be awesome if we grew up and there was like professional video game players." It wasn't a thing back in the day, but now it's 100% legit. Like, people watch. I don't get, like, watching people play video games.
Yeah, I don't get that.
But when you really think about it, it's the same as us watching golfers. I can play golf, but now I'm watching people that are better at it do it. It's the same thing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I guess it's a little different. Greg, you'll understand this as your son gets older. My kids want me to watch them play video games every day. So that they want me to watch them play Fortnite all the time. That's all they want me to do. So again, I've watched a lot of Fortnite. I'm a terrible first-person shooter game.
I go outside and have a catch with my son.
Yep.
My son goes and runs on professional football field. So that's
my youngest one won their championship for soccer I-9 this weekend, and then
I saw Jackson that on Facebook.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, Luke. They won the championship. They went undefeated this year. They won 2-0 on Saturday, and then he joined Jackson and I. We had a little camping weekend for the Cub Scouts this weekend, so that was a good time too. So that was it was a fun weekend.
Nice.
So this video is taking a little longer to download. How about we move on and do the rest of our show, and then we'll air the video at the end. How about we do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk.
Let's do the smack of the week.
Works for me.
Well, smack my mama.
All right. Here it is. Wait for it.
Oh!
Let me see that again.
Unexpected.
I mean, he hit the stick.
That's what I was saying. Did he hit the flag stick? He actually made contact.
He hit the flag stick. That was a solid shot. Like, he hit the flag stick. The video wouldn't let me download. There's another one I wanted to show today so that we could have a conversation. In February of next year, they are going to be doing the Florida Man games.
Have you already filled out your application, Steve?
I have not. But you know what I was actually thinking?
You want to broadcast from the Florida Man games?
We could do the podcast.
Cox turned one in for you already?
No, Cox said nobody's turned one in for me yet. No, nobody knows about this yet. So,
when is it?
Literally a month.
Breaking news on the Golfing Dads Tavern.
Do they have a list of events yet?
Yes.
All right, let's read off this list of events.
I'm getting it. Here we go. Inaugural Florida Man Games seeking contestants.
Is flag football one of them? That's a knock at flag football being in the Olympics.
I want to see Tyreek Hill run past some accountant from Germany.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want. I want some like track star from like marathon runner from Africa, like outrun any NFL player.
Usain Bolt lines up against Tyreek Hill and gets clobbered by LeBron coming across the middle.
Do you realize, like, if I honestly think if you put Tyreek Hill and Usain Bolt, it wouldn't even be close, because like he looks fast on a football field, but you're running against like 400-pound linemen versus the fastest man alive.
Yeah. Well, at least
okay. So teams of 5
not wearing socks.
Oh, this is an event.
It's a team event too. Teams of 5 will compete in contests including
it's
beer belly sumo wrestling, a pool noodle mud fight, a category 5 cash grab, where you put contestants inside a wind machine and they grab money with a limited amount of time.
Yeah, I figured out what it was. These are not.
An obstacle course where competitors evade arrest from real police officers.
That's the best one.
Right. All right, so here's how you have to
canine.
Steve, I have one question. Is this aired on the CW?
I don't know that this is going to be aired, but I feel like the Golfing Dads Tavern needs to have a say in airing this.
Oh.
Well, can it
after submitting
show up on the Ocho? We know it. It's going to be on the Ocho.
Yes. After submitting a video about why they should be chosen, only 16 teams will be selected to participate in the main events.
Mike, this is exactly why Steve would qualify.
Through separate games will be available for other...
Steve has too many teeth.
That's true.
Oh, no, this is where this gets good. Separate games will be available for other event goers to participate in, like a mechanical gator.
Is that like a mechanical bull?
Yes.
Why does he seem excited about this?
Former American gladiators Dan Nitro Clark and Lori Ice Fetrick are slated to serve as judges over the competition, according to the event's website.
You realize I feel like this is, and this is not me being political, but I feel like Bobbitt, Gates, and what's her name from Georgia should be the judges.
I mean, no, you know who we should really get to be the judge?
Green? I was going to say that name too.
You know who we should get to be the judge? Like, I feel like judge, jury, and they should get his staff to be the policeman. They should get Grady Judd. No, Grady Judd. Grady Judd. We need Grady Judd involved in this. Coming soon. 100% on CMT.
Still better than the CW.
Yeah. It's in St. Augustine, and the disappointing part that I thought, man, we could make a weekend out of this and do this on the podcast was that we could do it around the Golf Hall of Fame. However, on September 3rd, the golf
moving.
No, it's closed already.
Well,
so they're moving it to Pinehurst. Yeah.
Even they want it out of Florida.
I mean, here's the problem. I was in Jacksonville when the Hall of Fame was built. And there was nothing out there in that area of St. Augustine where it was. And we're now talking 25 plus years later. There's still nothing out there. There's a Buc-ee's there at that exit. There's 2 golf courses. And there's nothing around it. One great one. Slammer Squires.
King and Bear.
King and Bear is awesome. They never expanded that to even what you have 50 miles south of that in Daytona with what you have around the Speedway even. And if if that area had blown up like that, that would have been great. But I'm going to be intrigued to see what do you do with that building? That building was massive.
So what they needed to do, I think, was kind of do what Bike Week did in Daytona. Was you had a Harley Davidson dealership that built up a whole bunch of stuff. You kept expanding little by little over that 25 years. Like, it would have been nice to see more PGA events there but they're competing with TPC Sawgrass,
right?
Which is why people are going there. And they thought that would bring people in, just that. But the problem is TPC Sawgrass is what, $900 now. So I'm not doing anything else if I'm paying that.
Right. Like, and TPC Sawgrass is 30 minutes from there. It's not like it's, I mean, not like it's around the corner. Like, it's not going to Magic Kingdom.
It's not next door.
So, I mean, it's also, I think it would have been more successful. I think it'll be more successful in Pinehurst because Pinehurst is a golf mecca. It is the bro capital of the world for anyone out of college. And it has that historic community. The USGA is creating their second home there. So you're going to have the USGA there, and you're now going to have the World Golf Hall of Fame there. You already have 9, now a 10th course. You have...
Yeah, and 11's getting built.
Yeah, and then you have...
11's going to... Yeah.
10 looks like Tiny Tobacco Road. I'm not going to lie.
Correct. Right, like, it does. The pictures from 10, I was like, was Strands reincarnated? Because that looks like tobacco to me. Like, it's tobacco not on steroids.
I think what they did is they said, hey, everyone comes here. They come to play our courses, and they take one day and go to tobacco. Like,
right.
So we need
to give them tobacco.
Yeah, exactly. Give them so you don't have to go.
And I believe 10, if I'm not mistaken, was built on the old pit site, which was like one of the hardest golf courses ever built. And nobody ever wanted to go play it because once you played it, it was like, yeah, I don't want to go back there. It wasn't fun. So you had an already existing golf course site where you've now redone the golf course and made it your Pinehurst version of it. So you've got a golf course that is, again, you can do a lot of cool things with.
And to be honest, that is like not sponsored by Pinehurst. I absolutely love Pinehurst. It's one of the greatest places to go. If you need a golf weekend or something, that's the place to go. The town is great. The courses are phenomenal. Yeah, I see you got number 8 flag back there, Dave.
Yep.
It's just such a great.
Yeah, I wonder where I got that from.
They just keep expanding on it. Like they built 8 as the Millennia course. Then they bought Pinehurst National to be number 9. Now they've built 10. They're going to build 11. Like,
yeah,
you're never going to need to leave that place. Plus you have the Cradle. Plus you have Thistledew. You have all of this stuff.
I will say this though. I saw pictures this week that they redid the Ryder Cup Lounge. in the Carolina, and they completely modernized it, and it's no longer called the Ryder Cup Lounge. They've given it another name, and I forgot what it was. And I was very disappointed because that was one of the greatest golf bars you've ever been, like anybody could ever go into. That bar was amazing. And they've made it this like, it looks like a fancy airport bar now is what it looks like.
Yeah, and they also built that fancy outdoor one on the cradle that
which you got rid of the pine cone, which was the coolest thing. Now, I will say this.
This is better than the pine cone.
No, the pine cone is amazing, but they have frozen transfusions now there.
But it's also now, I think that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to push people towards the course and make the hotels just the hotels. So I think that's
but here's the thing, like, I also don't know. You go very modern in the Ryder Cup Lounge, which is the lobby bar for the hotel. We've all worked in hotels. Like,
yeah,
anybody were to look at our resumes, you can see we all worked in hotels. You have this great historic building in the Carolina Inn, and it's an amazing place. And anyone that's ever been there will say it's one of the greatest hotels in the entire world. And you put this very modern, upscale airport bar is what it looks like in this classy lobby of the Carolina Inn. And to me, it just doesn't fit. Like, you didn't.
That's true.
You went on an open aired version of like you tried to do with the Deuce, which fits at the Deuce. But there's like, you have this like, go walk into the buffet and see the guy playing the grand piano on the buffet. It doesn't fit with that theme that you've already got in that lobby. Like, are you going to overdo your entire lobby because it doesn't fit?
That's true. Because they do have that. It's that classic like 1920s hotel, like right out of The Shining, right out of like it's that grand ballroom. Like that's what you expect. But they also have like
there's a moving wall speakeasy.
That would have actually been a great idea to have a speakeasy idea in there, because that would have actually fit better than going on a completely modernized bar that you put in there. Like, it doesn't, like, I don't know where this idea came from them, because it doesn't fit the classic Carolina design that they have there. Like, you're used to smelling your soap that smells like pine trees, and your body wash and the shampoo they give you, it all smells like pine trees because it's Pinehurst. Like, it's gone like the exact opposite. It would be like putting if you went to, and just say this is a place, you go into the lobby of the Grand Floridian and you put a very contemporary bar in the lobby of the Grand Floridian. It doesn't fit.
Well, I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to react to these newer modern golf courses. Like, if you go to, like, I went out to Fields Ranch, to where the PGA headquarters is now, and that's very modern, very new, and I think they're trying to compete with that in a sense. And they're thinking that that modern new look is what people want, instead of saying, hey, we have a classic look. You can make a classic modern bar, but have that classic look and feel to it.
Right. Like,
and that's what you want from Pinehurst. Like, you want that history.
Right. Like a bar, like make a whiskey bar there, or a cigar bar, or something like that, where you can just go, and yes, you could sit on the patio and smoke a cigar at Pinehurst. It's a very nice place to sit. I've done it. But the idea that you just have this bar where it just, to me, doesn't fit in the location is very disappointing to me if you're what you're trying to be and what you are, because Pinehurst is such a historic place and has so much history in it that there's no need to modernize Pinehurst. There isn't. It's the reason they want you to walk there. It's the reason they want you to, like, when you look at what's done at Pinehurst, they want you to do these things. There's no reason to modernize what it is. Leave Pinehurst what it is. Don't try and make it what it's not. Pinehurst is a very historic place. That bar should be like Cheers. It should have dark wood. It should have that homey feeling, that warm feeling when you walk in. It shouldn't be this bar that is straight out of.
It shouldn't look like Stream Song. It shouldn't look like.
No, it shouldn't look like Stream. But even Stream Song's bars.
No.
Like the golf course bars are much more like, you have that dark cherry bar. Like, it's the building is modern, but like over at the Red and the Blue, Like it's a dark, older, like it's contemporary, but it's not. This one has that high ceiling with all the bars displayed, the bottles displayed on top with the iron, and it screams to me like the mesh, like metal that you can see through, and I was like, that's not Pinehurst.
No,
you're not Pinehurst when you do that.
Yeah, but I honestly think it's just a reaction. Like someone came in there and was like, "Hey, I'm in charge now. I want to do this," because it's not like you have members at Pinehurst. It's a resort course, but it also has members. So I don't think the members have any say over the hotels, and I think the hotels is the Pinehurst brand. Like, and I think they're just trying to draw people in, and that's where this came from. I think it was an idea that was like, "Oh, this will be good. It's modern. It's this," but it's like, that's taking away from what your identity is, because you go to Pinehurst to play golf in history. That's why you go to Pinehurst.
It's the history of Pinehurst that you go to Pinehurst for. You don't go to Pinehurst because it was built, you know, what we go back to we go back 20 years when Stream Song's not even 20 years old.
Yeah.
So when you look at a facility like that, like they're a modern great destination golf facility. Let's be real about it. But when you look at what Pinehurst is, Pinehurst's reputation, the reason they charge as much as they do to play Pinehurst and stay and play at packages at Pinehurst is because they're Pinehurst. And because Donald Ross built those golf courses and the history that is there, and what Core Crenshaw did to number 2 to redesign number 2, and what they've done with 8 and 4 and now 10, you have 3. All of 3. Yeah, you've got these great golf courses that are yeah, you have the newer courses in 8, 9, and 10, but you have these old time golf courses that have stood the test of time, that have been modernized a little bit because you had to modernize 2 and 4, but you have to really do that and have this. Like, I don't agree with the idea of modernizing Pinehurst. I don't.
Well, it's the hotel, because I think when you play Pinehurst now, like 1, 5, 6, 9 are very kind of not modern, but not like historic courses.
Right.
2, 4, 3 are very went back to the original type way of golf courses. So you kind of step back in history that way.
Yep.
10 is going to more modern type course. The Cradle is more the modern type par 3 in a sense.
It is, but it has that feel.
It has the feel, but that's what that's what Stream Song, that's what they try to have that modern look with that historic feel. And at Pinehurst, you can kind of get all of that, which is amazing. And then you have this historic clubhouse that is ginormous, that you have a great bar in. And I will tell you, one of my favorite things to do at Pinehurst is to sit outside the Deuce and the pro shop right there on those big Adirondack chairs and watch people hitting into 18, because if they hit 10 yards over the green, it's in your drink.
Correct.
Like, and you can just have a blast cheering people on.
People really do. I think the thing that people don't really understand, that have never been there, is that when you see it for a US Open event, let's say, how close the Deuce is and that building is to the 18th green. Like,
because it's blocked by grandstands most of the time.
Right. And I mean, there's a cart path, and it's a 2-way cart path, and that's about it from behind that green.
You probably have 5 feet from the green to the brick cart path, and then the brick cart path has a row of shrubbery, and then you're on the patio. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't think until you go to Pinehurst and see that, I don't think you have a really good understanding of just how close that really is.
To be honest, I'd kind of like for them, when the US Open comes back this year, is don't put grandstands right behind the green.
They will.
I know they will, but I would love to see it be open there.
Yeah.
Because people would stand there, but I think you'd have an amazing view and an amazing look at it. And you can have them on the sides. Like, I don't care if you're blocking, because just over from the green is the first tee, and just the other way is the driving range, which is an awesome driving range, by the way.
Right, it's a massive driving range.
And the driving range even looks like the course itself. Like, it has the bunkers, it has all of that stuff. Like, it's a fun driving range.
only disappointing thing I've seen that driving range when I was there is they've got mats to hit off of, and I hate hitting off mats. I'm just going to say
they do have mats. They do have mats,
and it's disappointing. That is the most disappointing part of that.
I will say they are the best looking mats for any golf because they're built in. They have brick around them.
Yes.
It's if you're going to do mats, they did it at least classy. But I mean, right there, you have your caddy barn right underneath the club, the pro shop there. That's right next to the Deuce. It's all compact there, and when everyone's there, everyone that goes there, it's a bunch of bros that are going there to have a guys' weekend, and so everyone's there to have fun. You're cheering people on as they come up. You're making you almost feel like you're coming up in a golf tournament, not a major, but when you're coming up 18 and you're hitting into that, if you're there at the right time, it feels like you're finishing out for a golf tournament. It's fun.
Yes.
And that's what that course is, but it's that historicness, a historic feel is why you go there for that. So if you're changing stuff to be more modern, I would recommend for Pinehurst not to do that. Do it with other courses. If you want to do it with 10, you want to do it with 11, do it over there. Keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in that historic realm.
Let's do it. This video's almost done here. Why don't we move on to the top our last call topic, since we're talking about Pinehurst, and that
makes
is
sense.
on the list. It is on the list, and we can have some good conversations about this list. So let's move on to last call. All right. So last week, Golf Magazine Golf Magazine released their top courses worldwide for 2023. I think it's 2023, 2024 because they usually do it for 2 years. The top 9 did not change, actually. As funny as that sounds, top 9 all remain the same. Number 1 is Pine Valley. Number 2 is Cypress Point, which actually made the news today. I know I sent you guys the article.
Well, I read the article before you sent it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a collegiate tournament there this week. And the freshman quarterback from Georgia Tech is actually playing on the golf team this week at Cypress Point because they needed somebody because they have a team at East Lake playing in the East Lake Cup, which is a huge collegiate tournament. And they've got a team that they need to have at Cypress Point. So their freshman quarterback, who hasn't played a snap in a game this year, is going to be a member of the golf team this week at Cypress Point. So good for him.
You know what would be ironic is if Georgia Tech needs him in the football game, just like the Giants needed to go to their third string quarterback last week against the Jets.
Would that be like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife?
All right. I'm removing him from making an Alanis Morissette reference in this show, so I apologize to our viewers.
You said it was ironic, okay? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't use the quote from Alanis Morissette. I mean, come on. And of all of that, that's the one you went with?
That it was the first one that popped in my mind.
You're better than that.
So the old course at St. Andrews is number 3. Shinnecock Hills is number 4. National Golf Links of America is number 5. Royal County Down is 6. The West Course at Royal Melbourne is 7. I am surprised at the way. I wonder if they could do the composite course at Royal Melbourne, where that would be, because the composite course, which is the course they use for the President's Cup and they use for tournaments down there, I feel like that course could very easily be in the top 5.
Yeah, but it's not one that is played on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, no. It's not the golf course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oakmont is number 8. That place, the end of Magnolia Lane is number 9.
So let's talk that right there, because this, for the longest time, it was Pine Valley and Augusta going back and forth. 1, 2, 1,
so
2,
that's
1, 2.
That's the American list. That's the America list.
Yeah,
that's the list of courses in America.
Even in America, they're 6th.
Right. Which that's
You were. This is where I'm shocked, because this is a course that is the Masters. This is a course that has that prestige. Like, to be honest, when you think prestigious golf courses, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Augusta National Golf Club.
So if I'm a member there and I see them at 9, what's happening? When you have a course at number 3 that is open to the public to walk on every Sunday.
Right.
Like, you have courses that have...
There's actually a video, I'll be honest, it was almost smack of the week. It made TikTok. Somebody that works there posted a video of a guy and a girl at dark in the road hole bunker.
So, okay.
Could you picture that happening at Augusta, though?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The problem is you can't get there to do it at Augusta.
That's true. But that's the point. That's the thing that boggles my mind, is that all these courses are like, oh, we're cart path only today. Oh, there was that picture that everyone commented on of the guy who made a hole in one and had his push cart on the green. Like,
yeah,
St. Andrews on Sunday, you can't play golf, but you can walk the course with your dog, with everybody, and they have that. They can keep that in that pristine of condition, and it is in that pristine of condition. Like, it is. Talk about historic golf. That's historic golf.
And you go and play there, and depending on the time of year and what's going on, you might have to, like, you can hit your shot, and they're going to give you a piece of turf to hit off of, because they won't let you hit off the grass.
Yeah,
because it doesn't grow fast enough. So, I mean, you can go play the old course. You're going to pay full price for it. And you don't even get to hit off the grass. What?
You talked about mats at Pinehurst. Come on, man.
Right. Number 2, by the way, is
I don't know. I'd still take I'm still pretty sure, even with a mat, I could take a divot out of the ground at the old course, even
100%.
with a mat.
Oh, my money's on 100%. I'd put money on that.
Yeah.
If we were betting on, at one point in 18 holes, playing off a mat, would Dave take a divot? I would bet money that yes.
Yes, 100%. Because it's not a big mat, so I would agree with that statement. I think, when I look at this list, and I've been to, Greg, did I know if you've been to what, 3 or 4 of these courses?
Been to or played?
Go with that.
Okay, both. Let's count. Yeah. I've been to 1, 2.
I got 1, so my count is pretty easy.
3. Augusta, it's the only one you've been to? Dave?
I've been by the ones in San Francisco, but I haven't been there.
Four, 5.
Counting with the golfing dads.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think I've only been.
It's like Jeopardy.
I've been to 5 of them.
I've been to 2.
Yeah.
I think the challenge that I see with this list is I think from my perspective, I really don't like this list. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I want to hear why.
I prefer because I feel like this list is the dream list for all of us, that we all sit down and say, oh, we want to go play there. And yes, there are people in this world that have gotten to play these courses, but I just don't see it's not a attainable list that a lot of us will ever have the chance to play these golf courses. Like, yes, Bethpage Black is on there.
Isn't
but the majority of this golf course.
The point of a list like this, though,
I prefer the the top 100 in America, I prefer the top 100 public in America list, where we can sit there and the average person can look and say, oh, I've played there. Or, oh, you know what I mean? Like this list. And don't get me wrong. So let's talk about this. There's a golf course that now charges $900 a round that's not on this list.
Yeah.
Like when you think about that, you charge $900 a round and you're not on this list. Like,
yeah,
to me, if you're going to get $900 a round and you're not on this list, there's a problem. And I get you're the PGA Tour and you control pricing at TPC Sawgrass, but like you're not one of the top 100 courses in the world.
Here's the way I would do this. If the top 100 courses in the world, I would say the top 10 can charge anything over $700. The top 10. If you are 11 through 50, I would say you're in the $500 range. 51 to 75. Actually, really just the rest. You're in that probably 250 to 500 range. Is where I think you would charge if this was an attainable list. But a lot of these are private. Okay. So
let me throw this out there. From mid-April to mid-October, which is season in St. Andrews, Scotland, it is $320 to play the Old Course.
Sign me up.
It's the number 3 golf course in the world. When you think about that and you say to yourself, TPC Sawgrass isn't on that list and they're charging $900.
And let me ask you this. If you had the choice, and let's say the prices were the same, okay?
Yep.
Old Course at St. Andrews, TPC Sawgrass.
I've played Sawgrass, so I would automatically say TPC Sawgrass or Old Course. But even if I hadn't played it, Dave, you haven't played either. And which one would you take?
Old Course.
Okay. So
hands down, Old Course.
You're only taking TPC Sawgrass, and I'm not bad. TPC Sawgrass is a great course, but you're taking and my guy Pete Dye created it. You're only playing it for the island green. That's why you're playing TPC Sawgrass.
There's some great holes at it.
I'm not denying that, but the average golfer. I'm not denying that. You're playing it for the island for 17.
You thought for 16 holes about playing the 17th hole is what you thought. And at that point, all you want to do is make sure you can hit the island green. You don't want to rinse one. Or your goal is to see how many you do rinse.
And to be honest, if you are the average golfer that just sees that on TV, sees the island green, the PGA knows what they're doing with this. That's why they want to play this course. But to be honest, we've played a lot of courses. A lot of courses have an island green. That's the most iconic one, let's be honest, like the way that it looks and how like big it is.
Yeah.
But it's short. It's got a decent landing area. It's just the intimidation of water that makes it difficult. Like you have to hit a very accurate shot.
It's a hard shot 1 week a year for a good player.
Yeah. It's a mental shot. It's a mental shot is what it is.
The last time I was there, I watched the guy that hit in front of me literally rinse 3 golf balls in front of me.
Yeah.
And I had 2 clubs. One of them was the same that he hit. I put that club down and flighted the longer one and knocked it on the green. But like, it's not that guy. Where's Brad? Where's Brad tonight to say drink? I'm disappointed that Brad's not.
Yeah, he's not here. He's not. He'll be on tomorrow when he'll be waiting for us.
Yeah, he'll go watch tomorrow. So
yeah,
we'll give him the stash.
He missed the Monday memo.
Yeah.
The funny part was he got the Monday memo because he called me today.
Well, he also liked all of the posts on social that said about it.
Right. It's like, Brad, where are you, Brad?
He's still soaking from the Bears' loss yesterday.
That could be it. That could be true. But like when I look at this list and you think about the fact that St. Andrews is number 3 on this list, it's $320 to play. Augusta, from what has been reported, is $500. Guest fee has to go on the members tab. Guest can't pay at Augusta. It's $500, and the member actually gets charged to play $500 also. So you're a member at Augusta, and you got to pay to play.
Well, actually, that's how most courses work.
I mean, yeah. But like, if you go down this list, there's some great golf courses. Like Seminole's 35 on this list. I think that's the highest course in Florida. If I go down the list, should be actually, because if there's a course above it in Florida, I'd like to play it. No. So Seminole's the highest course on the list at 35 in Florida. Cabot Cliffs is on the list, although it fell. Cape Kidnappers. Now, we've all seen the pictures of Cape Kidnappers, and it looks crazily amazing on the side of a cliff. That golf course is 55 in the world. Kiowa Island, the ocean course, is 62nd. But you look down, the highest ranking new course on the list is the Lido, which is in America. Where they build that?
But I mean, here's the thing: a lot of these courses are private. A lot of these courses are unattainable for most people to play. A lot of these courses, what they're basing stuff on is prestige, clubhouse, course condition, things like that when they go to play them. But a golf course is a golf course. We like different golf courses, and we did our top 5. If you would go back a few episodes, we did a list of the courses that we like, and we like them for different reasons. Like there's courses that we mentioned that aren't on this course that, to be honest, I've played some. Like I said, I've played some of these courses. I've been to some of these courses. I like better than those courses.
Right.
So like these lists are just kind of this, hey, we're going to put our list together. I think people need to take all these lists with a grain of salt. Like you're going to have your ones that you go to, but you're going to have the ones that you really want to play that aren't on this list. And there are some great courses that don't want to be on this list that should be. Like they choose not to be on this list. Like, and a lot of people don't realize that is people choose. Like a course can say, we don't want to be on this list.
I've got an idea. I think they should let us play all 100 of these golf courses, and then we rake them. Dave, you in for that trip? Dave's freezing. Dave, you're freezing. Dave, you in for that
lost
trip?
You both there.
We go play all 100 of these golf courses, and then we rate them all. I feel like that's a good.
But
it's a good. I think it's a better rating system.
Whose Powerball money are we using?
No, I think
golf magazines.
We should golf magazines. Like I feel like golf magazines should let us do it.
Like I mean, to be honest, like it would be interesting to see. Like take the average golfer. Like I would like to see in different age ranges and different abilities to these courses.
Yep.
Have them go play them, or have them go play courses all over the country and see what they think of what they do. Like give people access to it. Like you have to follow the rules if you're at certain clubs of what their rules are and things like that.
Yep.
But to be honest, every course where someone's a member, they're going to say that's their favorite course. So take those people out of this equation. Like have outsiders come in and have them come in as prospective members, see like the treatment they get, see how it is. Like let them have that whole experience. Because it is an experience when you go to a golf course. Like when you go to Pinehurst for a resort stay, like it's an experience that you do there. There's so much other than golf that make that such a great golf destination. But like 2 is on here, and Steve, you're going to disagree with me with this. I've played 2, and I've actually played everything but 1 and 5. Ironically enough, and I like 4 now. I like 3.
God, I didn't like 4. I didn't like 4 at all.
4 is unbelievable. Like.
But I didn't like it.
I like it for different reasons, but that's my point is that you don't like it for certain reasons. No. We both like Tobacco Road, and to be honest, that course is visually stunning, and as hard as Kiowa Island if you go by the slope and rating, like it's just under Kiowa, which is one of the hardest courses in the world.
I think that the idea of Tobacco, the 18th tee at Tobacco, and I go back to that tee shot because to me it's one of the greatest tee shots in all of golf. Like, one is amazing with the mounds, but you stand up on 18, and I don't know. I'd like to go there with Dave and blindfold him walking from 17 to 18 and make the walk, and then have him stand on the back tee box on 18 and have him look at us and go, where do I hit it?
So
because it's literally like you can think you got to turn around and hit it backwards because that's really the only place you can see fairway.
You have
like it is the coolest tee shot. It reminds me though of a lot of
shots in golf. 16 the approach on 16.
Yeah, good luck on that.
The tee shot on 17 off of a cliff.
Right.
And then 18. And like if you've played it, you know what it is. But I compare it to what it's probably like standing in Fenway looking at the Green Monster. He's just gone.
Dave's gone. Dave's internet's been acting up all night.
But to be honest, those are three of the best shots in golf. Like, I can't name, like, I will say at TPC Sawgrass, since we've been talking about it, 16, 17, and 18 there kind of have that same kind of lore. There's no elevation.
You're shot into 17. You're shot into, like, you talk about 3 consecutive shots. You're shot into 16. You're shot on 17, and then the tee shot on 18 are just as hard.
Oh yeah.
If the tee shot on 18, I'll be honest, is probably the hardest tee shot on the entire golf course. That or 14. But like you have this amazing, challenging holes, but then you think about the Amen corner stretch at Augusta, where you have your approach shot into 11, your tee shot on 12, and then the tee shot on 13, and honestly, the tee shot on 13, even with that new tee box, is a little different because you have that new tee box back there. But the old tee box, when you can look back and you can see where it was, the tee shot on 13, if you can turn it right to left, isn't that hard of a tee shot. The challenge that you have is when you get to the approach shot into 13, which is freaking like hanging lie, and you have this hanging lie and a ball that you need to really cut to hold into that green, and it's the ball's above your feet, so you want to draw it. Like it's one of the harder shots. Like you can stand there from the fairway and from outside the ropes and see that shot's almost impossible.
It is. Like that's what this game's about, and that's what I'd like them to see to take into consideration here is some of the shots and the experience you get on these courses, because that's what makes a golf course. Like, to be honest, I would love to see a PGA event at Tobacco Road played from the tips, having to do these shots, because
here's the funny part. Like when you look at the yardage at Tobacco, the back tees are 6,700 yards. It's not that long of a golf course.
And to be honest, what I always tell people is if you play that course, it's actually not, it doesn't play that hard if you could actually play that course. But
I actually think it plays easier from the back tees, because if you hit it at all halfway decently, it actually opens up the golf course into the fat parts of the fairways and doesn't narrow the golf course down.
But also with playing that course, like when you play it for the first time, it's blind. Like you're playing so many blind shots, you don't know where to hit. It's intimidating. Once you know that course, it's a whole different ball game, and it is fun the second time.
It's like you hit shots in Tobacco that you'll never hit anywhere else. Like go ahead and hit it in the bunker on 11. Good luck. Hit it in the bunker on 11.
That's 9, 8, 7. I love the tee shot on 7 where it's just down a hill. Like it's after the par 3.
And I honestly think, is that 7 or 8?
That's 7.
No,
8
it's 7.
Is par 3. 9 is the
9 goes up the hill with the
freaky skinny green.
20-foot tall flag stick. So, Dave, we were talking, and
are they? Is the Carolina
North Carolina?
Just both the Carolina.
North Carolina.
Both Carolina.
That's what we're talking about golf.
They're in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So
I don't know what I don't know what's happening tonight. You guys are so lagging behind on everything.
Well, we decided that we're going to
either I'm freezing, you're freezing. I've said so much lag tonight.
Dave, we decided we're going to take you and blindfold you at Tobacco Road. That's what we decided we're going to do.
I just think we just take him there and have him play that course.
I heard that part, and then I.
Yeah, then
like,
you were gone.
Seeing someone like of Dave's skill level play that course, like, would be fun, because I think he would enjoy it, because it is a fun environment. But it's going to be like, I want to hear his reaction every hole, because the first hole you're going to be like, what the fuck? Then the second hole you're going to be like, what the fuck? The third hole,
yeah, you get it.
Okay, that's a par 3. The fourth hole,
but good luck if the flag's in the back of that green.
Oh, it is. No, well, you hit it to the side and let the hill take it down.
And you still can't hold the green though. And I spin the ball out, and you still can't hold the green. But then you go to 4, and 4 is a par 5. That's the tee shot. Then you get to the second shot, and you're like, am I further from the hole than the tee box? Yeah.
And then you get to 5, which is a risk reward.
Drivable par 4.
If you smash it over everything, it's a drivable par 4. But if you're short of the green, it's going to roll all the way back down, and you're 20 feet below the hole.
In a bunker.
No, you don't need to be in the bunker there. There's actually, you can be, if you don't carry the bunkers. But if you carry the bunker to the green and it rolls off the front, you're 20 feet below the hole.
Yeah.
Like that, to be honest, that tee shot is an iron shot to the center of the green, the same iron shot to the green, and you're there in 2.
And then you have a really cool par 3.
That is like another skinny green over a ton of bunkers.
The best green out there is 17, where at one point I think you have to hand mow it, because it's literally as wide as a push mower to go through it at one point on the green.
I landed on that point at one point. That was where my ball stopped there on the green, and the flag was over here. And I was like, I either have to chip this or like putt it and hope it breaks towards the hole.
Where was the flag when you played it? Left or right?
It was on the left.
Yeah, mine was all the way down the front of the left. Yeah. But yeah, no. So we've got, I think these lists, Greg, I think you're right. These lists are so, the people that rate them and the people that talk about them, I really wonder how many of these people that rate them are actually playing these golf courses.
And that's true. Their whole ratings, I think they play, I think they talk to people about it, and they get people's opinion. Yep. And I get it. I'm glad they do it. I love these lists. I love the ratings for them. But to the average golfer, what I would tell you is don't pipe dream these courses. If you get a chance to play them, that's great. That's what they are. There are a ton of other courses out there that you can play for a better price. If you get the chance, that's the thing about golf is I've been lucky enough to play a lot of courses. I've been lucky enough to be invited to a lot of courses, and that's what this game's about. It's about networking, just like we had on our show last week. Like, making friends and being in the industry is a way to do that, but also just find what you like. Find the courses that you like. There's courses that I play that I absolutely hate. There's courses that Steve hates that I like, and vice versa.
Pinehurst number 4.
I know. And you're wrong. But I'm one of the few people that loves Pinehurst number 4. I love Pinehurst number 2 though as well. It's because that's one I played with my dad, and that's a course that it was a fun trip for me and my dad, and my mom came on that trip too.
Nice.
It was actually that's where we took my mom for Mother's Day one year.
Nice. Happy Mother's Day, Bev.
She went to the spa and had a great time, and my dad and I went and played one of the best rounds we've had.
I think all of our wives would be happy if we just took them to the spa. So
exactly,
I don't think they wouldn't complain about that. So,
but that's the fun part about it. So,
I know we've been rambling for a while. The video finally downloaded for our interview this week. We interviewed Cleveland Srixon XXIO Golf this week. So I want to go ahead, Greg, we don't have to play the intro. It's already on the video. So I'm going to go ahead and add this video in. You guys can watch. It's about 27 minutes. We'll be back on to wrap up when this is over with. So enjoy the video. There's a lot of great information in here. So pay attention. We talk about a lot of stuff with them. So let's see here. Boop. All right. Hey, Dave. So we're really excited about this interview we've got coming up here today. Really like to welcome to the Tavern Casey Shultz from Cleveland Srixon XXIO, all of the brands that the Dunlop Sports entails. Casey, welcome to the Tavern. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So Casey, you were the product manager for Cleveland Srixon XXIO Golf, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. So I want to say first off, congratulations. You guys have had a tremendous year. Obviously, Brooks Koepka winning the PGA Championship. We were excited that week. I'm going to be honest with you. We're good friends with the guys from Dormy Workshop. He had a Dormy head cover on the bag that week, so that was a huge thing. And then the resurgence of Lucas Glover, obviously, at the end of the season that you guys had. I actually got to caddy at the Pro-Am at Bay Hill in Lucas's group with him right after he had switched to you guys, and I couldn't believe just how good he was hitting it then.
For sure.
Dude just striped it all day long, and it was fun to watch. So congratulations. You guys have had a tremendous year. But your role as the product manager, what does that entail?
Sure. Yeah, it's a pretty busy role. It's really all aspects of the product development process. What we essentially do is take last generation product and start by gathering feedback from tour, from other players, from fitters. I do a lot of surveying to sort of our loyal Srixon squad is what we call it, or Cleveland crew. Get that feedback. What was great last generation, worked well, what can we do better? And then we start validating new ideas from R&D, from our own team, sort of building off of what we've got in the we call it a toolbox for next generation products and what's going to work best. And then trying to make the tech decisions on what we're going to include. I work with the other teams to make cosmetic decisions and decide which models we're going to launch. And are we going to add an LS to a line, or are we going to add, higher lofted woods or things like that? And then which heads, components, all of that, and all the way through marketing, communications, and naming. It's sort of a CEO of the product role. So anything to do with the products, I've probably got my fingers on it somehow.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So, you guys, you have some amazing equipment. I actually stole 2 of Steve's old Cleveland wedges, and I carry them in my bag. Now,
he did.
Yeah, I have a 54 and a 58, and people look at the groove patterns on those, and they're like, "Wow, you hit those really well." And I say, "No, I stole these from a friend. I just like I hit them really well." So, the reason I stole them is because the Cleveland wedges, they're kind of in a class on their own. From your RTX line to the CBX wedges, you've created kind of something for every player. What are the different benefits between like an RTX or a CBX wedge, and how should someone go about finding the right wedge for themselves?
For sure. I mean, yeah, I really do appreciate all the feedback. And I think we set ourselves apart by having a wedge for every type of player and designing each wedge with an entire player purpose kind of in mind, instead of just a grind that's going to fit your game. It's a design all the way from the lighter shaft in something like a CBX wedge. It's designed to combo well with whatever you might have in your irons and are looking for the same benefits you're going to get out of something like a game improvement iron all the way through your wedges, right? So it's going to have a little bit of a wider sole, more forgiving profile, but still have some of that versatility you're going to find in a RTX series wedge. So if you're a guy who's looking for forgiveness, making the game easier, the vast majority of golfers, right? You're not seeing too many players out there nowadays with blades in the bag when it comes to irons. Why is everybody transitioning into a blade wedge as the natural path? So for the vast majority of golfers who aren't scratch or even plus handicaps, I think the CBX is one of the better, if not the best wedge option in the market for somebody who's looking to gain more consistency, hit more greens, and make more birdies. When it comes to the RTX wedge, that's more going after the player who really does want to fine-tune that performance and is likely a lower handicapper. You've got a wide range of grind options and also technologies that are built into sort of hidden ways, add some forgiveness technology. So, zip core will increase your spin on all strikes, but it's also going to be moving that sweet spot a little bit more towards the center of the face in what still will be a very traditional looking wedge, both in the bag and at address. So some similar benefits there, but the RTX wedges are phenomenal for anybody who's looking for spin consistency out of all conditions or just wants a little bit more control and versatility out of their wedges.
See, I'm that guy. I'm not looking to make more birdies. I'm looking to make more pars and bogeys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get that snowman down to a 6 and the 7 down to a 5.
Fair enough. Yeah. You sound like a CVX guy. I mean,
no truth. I mean, Dave, you have just been full of good truths on the Tavern about your golf game lately. So
yeah.
So Casey, the Cleveland irons, and funny, I had turned pro at one point and carried the 588 MBs.
Sure.
In my bag.
That's a drink.
And that is a drink. And then I actually switched, and we're going to get into the Srixon line. I actually carried the 745 irons after those. 2 great sets. But I've always found the Cleveland line of hybrids and woods very easy to hit and super helpful for golfers. I know my dad actually carries the Cleveland hybrids, loves them. Can you tell us about that launcher line and what it's doing for golfers?
Yeah, I mean, with the Cleveland brand and sort of having Srixon as our more tour-focused brand, we're really able to design the clubs all the way from the get-go without tour feedback so much in mind, but really targeting that average golfer who's going to be the weekend warrior, maybe a 10-plus handicapper who hits the ball over the face and needs, above all else, more forgiveness, right?
Dave. So that's Dave. That's Dave.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't call it at all a beginner line, right? We're still going after players who really are playing a lot of rounds. Quick stat for you. Over 70% of golfers who have a gin handicap have a handicap over 10 that play 25 or more rounds per week, or not per week, per year. So, I mean, we're going after the bulk of the market with these technologies that'll really work for them. So large forgiveness-focused heads all the way through the line. Our fairway woods and hybrids have glide rail technology. So anybody who's striking a little bit behind the ball is going to get that tech that'll help them really cut through the turf and really reduce digging and chunks and all those mishits that really cause disaster. And, you know, people are always going to be complaining about after the rounds when they hit terrible shots with those clubs. And we even got a high wood this time around, which is a great replacement for anybody who can't hit their 3 wood. It's going to be a really fun club that kind of lands between a fairway wood and a hybrid to sort of put a whole option in the bag for somebody who really struggles with a club like that. So, yeah, with the Cleveland Woods and Irons, we really do try to focus on that forgiveness aspect of the game and making it a lot more fun. And your average player who might not be a scratch handicapper is going to really have a lot of success and see the benefits of these larger, more forgiving heads.
I will tell you, my dad carries up through a 6 hybrid in his bag.
Perfect.
And as he's gotten older, had trouble hitting his long irons and went to the Cleveland, has the Cleveland hybrids and just absolutely like, I won't play him for money. The dude doesn't shoot anything worse than 75 every time he tees it up. So, you know, just to watch him hit
with Steve's dad. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like it's fun to watch. Like he just boop, and just plays great. And I was the one that talked him into it. He was struggling to hit his long irons. And I said to him, why don't you go to hybrids? They're so much easier to hit for you. If you can't hit a 5 iron, there's no shame in putting a 5 hybrid in the bag and make the game more fun. Like and that's what he's done. Like he carries Cleveland. He actually is Cleveland. I think other than the driver, he's Cleveland through the bag right now. So
great. Yeah, no, I mean, I couldn't agree with that mindset more. We see the same thing, and it's sort of a convention that's changing over the years. I mean, your grandpa or your dad or whoever might have played all the way through a 2 iron, right, back in the day. And slowly people are realizing more and more why have those long irons in the bag. But it's still not as common of a thought process as we'd like it to be. I recently ran a survey of a few thousand players, and over half of them admitted they had an iron in the bag that they didn't feel they could hit consistently, right? Whether that be a 4 iron or a 5 iron or wherever they're drawing that line, why not replace that with a hybrid and have a lot more success? So it seems like your dad's got the memo, but there's a lot more golfers out there who just haven't.
You know why, though? It's because players on tour don't do it, so it's not the cool thing to do.
Totally, right. For sure.
And how many of those handicaps? And how many of those handicaps hit as many balls as tour players do? None of them. So you know, like, they don't practice. Yeah, sure they don't. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I only used to carry a 3 iron in my bag to hit chip shots around the green.
Oh, yeah,
that's not the most ideal.
It's like
thing
a little
to do.
chipper.
Yeah. Well, you know, remember, I'm not that good, so you know, I tried to take every advantage I could. But you know, like the Srixon line, I'm the guy that's on the bag usually when Steve was playing. So, I could say up close and foremost, it wasn't the clubs that caused Steve to not turn completely pro. So that's a completely different story for another day. But the clubs you guys have created kind of have that cult following, where we go all the way back. You look at the clubs. Our dads play. Cleveland was on those bags, a long time ago. In your 745 irons, players like Keegan didn't want to take those things out of the bag. And now you have these new lines coming out with the ZX5 and the ZX7. And can you share some of the process, designing some of those clubs in golf, and not only for like Brooks Koepka and, Lucas Glover, but kind of like the average player, kind of somebody like me who's looking at, I'm not the greatest ball striker 7 out of 10 times, and how's something like that going to benefit me?
Definitely. I mean, with the Srixon irons, it's a different approach than the Cleveland. We really are starting with that tour feedback first, and what's working best for Brooks, and what's working best for Keegan or for Lucas Glover, all of these guys, making sure that whatever design updates we're going to have from both an address profile with the right top lines and views that your better player is going to look at, from a performance profile, what windows of launch are we wanting to achieve with these irons, what spin amounts on each iron throughout the set is each tour pro going to like, and then making sure we're getting feedback from our fitters and players too, with all aspects of the club components and launch profiles, and moving through the ZX4 now, which is our more game improvement type of iron in that same category. It's really all of these kind of combination of factors that come into play, along with working with our forging vendors to see what we can do, updated forging methodology and increase field generation over generation. And yeah, Srixon have had a cult following for a while. I don't think we've made a bad iron ever, essentially, at least since I've worked here. We've just been going up and up in feedback. More and more players are getting the memo that Srixon makes some really good irons, and we're super excited with the Mark II generation, and I've had our best sales ever with the new ZX5s and ZX7s, as well as the 4s being added in that line. So yeah, for you're slightly on the better side of the player spectrum, looking for a little bit more workability, control, really tasteful looking designs at address, it's really hard to beat the Mark II line.
They look really good when you set them down. I'm going to tell you that. Like you look down at those and you're like, if you're a player, you're like, man, those are some good irons right there. So
for sure.
It's funny that the driver, you guys have always had a really hot driver. I've carried from, what was that loud driver you guys had? Was it Cleveland, the high board? That was like the loudest thing you could ever hit. Yep. I carried one of those. I carried the Srixon driver. And one of the things that I've always liked about the driver is I'm a high spin driver. I spin the ball out with the driver. So I always try and find something that can keep the spin down.
Totally.
And your drivers have always been able to help me keep the spin down. So between the ZX5 and the ZX7 drivers, the average golfer, how can they help them, whether they're a 5 handicap going into a 10 handicap? I mean, they were really helpful for me in helping me create more distance because I wasn't overspinning it. And so how are those drivers really helping the players today?
For sure. Yeah. For your guys more focused on distance and accuracy, I think the ZX5 and then the kind of brother of the ZX5 LS are great options. I mean, both are very forgiving, with the LS being one of the lower spinning drivers out there in the market. And that's the one I personally play. I think it's a phenomenal combination of as much forgiveness as possible in what is a very low spinning head that's just rolls forever. So it's not a combination you see too often in the market, where you can still miss hit a little bit and get away with some shots that are just going to go for miles. Then the ZX7, on the other hand, is still very low spinning, but a little bit more for your guy who wants to tune his flight performance. So it's got those adjustable weights that you can, tune a little bit more draw or fade bias based on what kind of flight profile you have. And if it's a guy who wants to work the ball a little bit more, that's a head that's really designed super well for that sort of performance. But for your vast majority of players, those ZX5 and ZX5 LS models, one of those two should really be a great option for players to fit into.
Nice. That driver, when I carried it, was I didn't carry this one. I carried the last one. And I could just hit bullets with it. It wouldn't, like, anytime I tested another drive route, you could just see the different spin rate and just drive it way up in the air. And that thing you could just hit bullets with.
Totally. And it's been validated on tour too. I mean, having major wins in both of the last couple of generations with Brooks and Shane with the driver in the bag has been really eye-opening. Srixon really does make a good driver.
You make good equipment. Let's be real. Like, let's be real. That's just not limited to the driver. You guys make amazing equipment.
So, speaking of equipment, you have a line of lightweight clubs out there, and XXIO. Is that how you okay? And I didn't want to slaughter that. And it's, we see like Ernie Els is playing those right now. And we've talked about this on the podcast several times. Golf is the one game we can all go out there and get the same equipment that the pros are playing and play on a lot of the same course. And how is this line of clubs going to be helping the everyday golfer?
For sure. I mean, XXIO is designed with the everyday golfer in mind above all else, for sure. Sure, Ernie Els is playing it, and we have a little bit of a tour focus there. But the overall design is truly for your guy who's losing a little bit of club head speed and wants something that's going to perform for him better than anything else out there. You go into a store and you swing 10 drivers at random, you're going to be able to tell which one was the XXIO, which you can't say for too many other products. The lightweight performance all the way through the design is what really stands apart. It's not we've worked with somebody else to make a shaft or we've gotten a grip from some other manufacturer. It's designed all the way through with our own shaft manufacturers and start working with our own grip designs to make sure that the entire club works sort of as a cohesive system to maximize distance for players who aren't swinging as fast as most of the guys on tour and are really wanting something that both from a health perspective doesn't hurt their back or really allows them to swing faster like they could when they were younger, and from a performance perspective is going to help them pick up a little bit club head speed, a little bit of distance, and just have more fun with the game in general, especially in those older years when you're not swinging maybe as fast as you were when you were younger.
Nice.
We're not old yet, Steve.
My birthday was last weekend. I did turn another year older, but no. I have to tell you, a couple years ago at the PGA show, I was on the range at demo day, and one of your reps handed me a XXIO iron with a regular flex shaft and told me to swing it as hard as I can. Now, my swing speed with my driver is about 110. And so I had a 6 iron and it had a regular flex, and they said, just trust me. And I carry an X flex and everything through the bag. And I swung this thing as hard as I could and it went dead straight. And I turned and looked at him and I was like, what, how? Like, it's not like, I can't believe I've even able to control the club head and keep it on plane like with this shaft. And he's like, yeah, no, hit another one. And I had another one. It was the same thing. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen with the design. And it's literally some of the things that you guys are able to do is absolutely incredible, and it's fun to see every year, especially as new lines come out and the different technology as it advances. So
totally, I mean, all of the technology in those all the way through the counterweight in each model, and designed all the way from the grip through the head, kind of for the exact purpose of that club, it really stands out performance wise, and anybody who tries them can certainly have success.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So let me ask you, we are big customization guys here.
Right.
We love anything that we can do custom. Again, we're friends with the guys from Dormy. As you know, they are a custom company. They love to do custom stuff. On the Cleveland site, you can custom your own wedges. And I think that's cool. To make it your custom wedge, talk about that process. And then is it just the Cleveland wedges, or can you do any of the clubs through the brand?
Well, there's certainly a lot of different clubs throughout both Cleveland and Srixon that you can personalize to an extent. So on Cleveland wedges, you can do custom skins, you can do custom paint fill, you can put up to 5 characters of whatever you want in your name or what have you. And that's a feature that's, some other competitors are doing that as well. We're doing this on the Srixon irons as well, which is kind of a fun ability to have whatever paint fill colors or your favorite football team or what have you to go on a new set of irons. So definitely have some elements of that personalization and, make your clubs your own. And you're going to be spending as much as you are on a new set. You want something that, shows your taste and can really stand out from whatever's in your buddy's bag. But where the Cleveland wedges really stand out specifically is the performance customization we allow for on the Tour Rack wedges for both the RTX 6 Zip Core and then the RTX Full Face offerings. So this is going to allow for actual performance customizations to be built into any of your sole grinds. So custom leading edges for whatever condition you might find yourself in. If you're in the Northwest and you mainly play in wetter conditions, you can get a rounded leading edge that's going to reduce digging and really work well there. If you're in the desert and you really play out of firm conditions, get a sharpened leading edge and you can really cut through the turf a lot more easily with something like that. And also just different sole grinds that aren't available stock that you can kind of create whatever you think is cool and will work with your game. So personally, I play something like a full sole with an S-shaped on my 56 degree that allows me to open up the face a little bit more out of the bunker, but still have the ability to have that added bounce for that forgiveness throughout the turf that you want from something like that. So it's not something that's really offered by almost anybody else in the market, and at only about $20 per grind there as an addition, it's a pretty affordable way to basically have a tour truck as your own personal grinder.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So one of the things we get asked a lot, of course, as dads, we all go into the Edwin Watts or PGA Superstore or golf balls. We all gravitate right towards the golf ball line, just to see, I've played Srixon balls for a lot of time. Most of the time I'm stealing them out of Steve's bag. But
true story.
For me, I pick up a lot of balls along the course, but I usually when I'm playing with Steve, I'm taking balls out of his bag when he's not looking. So because your balls are kind of designed for all different types of golfers. You have some amazing lines out there. You have the Z Star for a low handicap, the Q Star line for a mid, and the soft feel for players with like a lower swing speed. But last year you introduced the Z Star Diamond as the ball that Brooks is playing. And he's had a ton of success. As dads, who don't get his chance to play as much golf as we'd like, what's the difference between a lot of those balls and how can they help our games?
Totally. Yeah, I think there's really sort of two buckets as you kind of laid out. You've got your tour balls, which now are the Z Star XV, and the brand new Diamond. And out of those, the Z Star is going to be your softest ball. It's going to be very low spin off the tee, but really high spinning around the green. So for the guy who's able to sacrifice a little bit of distance and maybe a little bit of a lower ball flight off the tee to maximize that spin around the greens and wants that softer feel, that's going to be a great option. Z-Star XV, on the other hand, is going to be that further flying ball off the tee. And it's going to have a little bit less greenside spin, but still a good amount, and a little bit less throughout the rest of the bag, but still pretty low spinning on driver performance. And then the Diamond is really a tweener ball that kind of has the best of both worlds to an extent. It's not going to be quite as distance oriented as the XV, but it's going to have a lot more spin throughout the rest of the bag. So a little bit more in the short game. Specifically, a lot of the tour players like it for the long iron spin, looking to hold greens with something like a 5-iron or 6-iron. That's one of the reasons players like Brooks have switched to it so much, to try to make sure that those, which for the higher handicappers of us, I don't care about the spin of my 5-iron or 6-iron, but for a better player, that's a very important aspect of the game, for them to be able to make sure they're holding any green with that kind of approach.
I just want to know I'm not walking into the woods any farther looking for the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And then our second bucket of balls, I would say, is really the more moderate swing speed focused balls. So the Q Star Tour, the Q Star, and the soft feel really kind of check that box. So they're going to be a little bit softer for a player who's not swinging as hard and doesn't have as much trouble compressing a tour ball. You're going to really be getting a lot of performance out of those overall softer feeling balls, with the Q Star Tour having that urethane cover, basically being a tour ball for that moderate swing speed player, with the Q Star being more well-rounded and more focused on that price, and soft feel essentially being a distance ball with all of the benefits of feel built in there as well at a very friendly price point. And we've got a lot of cool cosmetic options in that line too, including a few in the Z-Star line as well, with our brand new divides, sort of lighting the world on fire with those 50-50 designed covers. And even our white and yellows on the Z-Star line has been doing extremely well. And our matte Q-Star balls, you've probably seen all over the place over the last couple of years. They sold out very quickly when we released those. So that's been a fun one for us.
I love the Z-Star yellow. For somebody that's, as I've gotten older and my eyesight, and even with my contacts and, sunglasses on, tracking the ball, through the air, and, here living in the Midwest. Leaves are falling right now. It's a lot easier for me to find a yellow ball in the leaves than a white ball. So
yeah. No, colorways really do make a difference. There's so many traditionalists who just play a white ball because they've always played it that way. But I would definitely suggest more people try some of those colors and see the benefits.
Do you notice, and just kind of a follow-up question, do you notice any difference between the balls, like once you're on the green, from a putting speed or like a trajectory, depending on granted, everybody putts differently, but is there a difference with the balls, once you get to the green, on how you're going to putt and roll the ball?
Totally. Yeah. I think cover material and compression kind of make the biggest difference there. So, out of our Z Star line, you're going to be getting the softest feel out of that Z Star, which is a little bit of a lighter compression with that urethane cover. And the same thing with our other balls. Our soft feel is about as soft feeling as an ionomer covered ball can be. So if you're really in that price point and looking for something that's still going to feel really good off the putter, that's a great option. But out of that line, the Q Star Tour is going to have that softer feel with that urethane cover, and it's pretty hard to beat a urethane cover when it comes to feel with putters. So our Z Star and our Q Star Tour, if that's really your priority above all else, I think is a great option.
It's the one reason that they keep me around in a foursome.
There you go.
Most of the time. That he's the guy that'll go get the beer. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Casey,
every group needs a guy like a Dave.
Oh yeah.
So a couple of years ago, you guys made a splash into the shoe market with the A6 shoe line.
Yes.
And players, Hideki went to them almost immediately. Lucas Glover, I know, was wearing them. Can you highlight the shoe line and some of the benefits of those shoes?
Sure. Yeah. The ASIC shoes really come from what is a long line of the most comfortable shoes in running. And a lot of that technology really transfers naturally into the golf industry with the comfort and performance technologies that are used in those running shoes kind of transferring over to our golf shoes. So flight foam and other ASICS gel technologies really create these lightweight, super comfortable golf shoe options. So if you're somebody who just wants to play in, shoes that aren't ultra rigid and built more like a running shoe or something you would wear on a day-to-day basis out on the golf course and experience those comforts along with the traction control that you're looking for on the course, going with a shoe like ASICS is a really great route.
Nice. Now, hey, Casey, we asked most of our guests this. I'm going to ask you, will you be here in Orlando for the PGA show in January?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure yet, but most years I am. There's sometimes a few more sales trips I have to take around that time period, but I missed it. It is that time of year when as sales kicks are tuning up. So definitely. But we will look for you at the show. Yeah. And definitely thank you for your time today, Casey, and taking time out of your day today. We look forward to your guys' continued success on and off the tour, and can't wait to see what's coming in the future. And look forward to possibly seeing you in Orlando in January. Excellent. Yeah, I hope I'll be there. And thanks for having me.
Thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
All right.
Cheers.
Man, Greg, you need to unmute. Man, that was a great interview there, huh? Greg, you there? I can't hear you. Is your mic on?
My mic was on mute. I had to unmute myself on here, but I also muted my mic on here. So,
man, first day on the podcast, huh?
It is first day.
Dave, you doing any better? Dave, you doing any better over there, or no? Okay. Dave's having Iowa internet issues tonight, so. Man, that was a great interview with Casey. It was awesome having him on this week.
I blame the Phillies.
Is that what you blame?
You blame the Phillies.
You know what I'll blame is the lack of Halloween costume you went with tonight. That's what I'll blame. Hey, I'm number one.
No, his Halloween costume is he's a golfing dad.
He's a golfing dad. Or a disgruntled Phillies fan, one or the other, that's just pissed off at his team.
He's not angry enough to be a disgruntled Phillies fan.
That's every Phillies fan right now.
There you go.
Oh, no. No, it was awesome, Casey. We'd like to thank Cleveland Srixon for joining us this week. Look forward to next week, and hope everybody has an awesome week this week. Enjoy trick-or-treating with your kids. I know we will tomorrow. We'll probably post some pictures trick-or-treating with our kids tomorrow night. Greg, what's Ollie going as?
Tomater.
I'm sitting next to my fire pit handing out candy.
Ooh, what is Will dressing up tomorrow night? Dave, what's Will dressing up as tomorrow night? Not his.
Nothing. You got nothing, Dave. Okay. Steve, what are you dressing up as?
Wearing snow pants for the pending snowstorm.
Oh yeah, have fun with that.
It'll snow here too.
The Jackson is dressing up as Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
And Luke is dressing up as Jack Skellington.
It would have been funnier if you said a camp counselor.
A camp counselor, right? So no, Luke was trying to go as Grimace, and we ordered his costume on Amazon, and Amazon couldn't get it to us in time. They somehow all of a sudden on Friday said, nope, we're not. It's not going to get delivered. So
I think your wife should go as Mrs. Voorhees.
Mrs. Voorhees, right?
The actual killer in the first Friday the 13th.
That is true. That is true.
Jason had nothing to do with it.
You know what's funny? I never saw any of the Friday the 13th movies. Just didn't.
Have you seen any horror movie?
No, I'm not a big horror movie fan.
Okay.
So.
Horror movie, and especially like cheesy horror movie, like are like cultural staples. I think that if we're Halloween, you got to have a good horror movie. We watched Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus, and it was actually pretty decent this time around.
We watched it a couple weeks ago. We try and watch movies on Friday nights with the kids, and we watched that a couple weeks ago because Jackson was like, "I want to watch that," and it was actually really good. It was way better than the Eddie Murphy version.
Well, I said the two things I liked about this was they didn't try to be Eddie Murphy funny like they did in the first one, and they actually told a story like they tell in the rides. And did you notice the two mansions that they had in the movie?
Yes.
I thought that was clever.
Yes. And I actually appreciated a lot of the inside jokes from the ride that were more prominent in this.
They had the Donald chair.
Yeah, they did have the Donald chair. I laughed out loud at the Donald chair.
They actually went through, like when you're going through the ride at Disneyland and Disney World, you're going through the house and you're going like 6 feet under it. They brought you through that ride and told kind of that story from a different perspective, which is why I thought it was really good. So if you really like it, I recommend for Halloween, if you're going to watch something, watch that. I mean, you can always watch Hocus Pocus. That's a staple as well.
And always Nightmare Before Christmas. That's one of my favorites.
See, I say that's a Christmas movie. Like Die Hard.
I would agree it is. But there's a song in there called This Is Halloween.
And that they use for every Halloween thing everywhere now.
Yes.
Like I feel
everywhere.
Disney's copyright gets stolen everywhere with that one.
So, well, I hope everybody has a good week. We're gonna wrap this up. We've been on a little longer than usual tonight, so I hope everybody enjoys the show. Enjoy the interview tonight, and look forward to seeing you back on Tuesday next week. Don't forget, we will return to Tuesdays next week, and got some really good stuff coming up. So you're gonna want to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Halloween.
Exactly. So we'll see you next week.
Great takes around the game and doing some different things.
Oh, nice.
And I want to bring Creighton and Taltag. You guys to talk about growing the game.